All people possess an internal guidance system. Sometimes people call this the inner voice. Sometimes people call it the inner compass. Sometimes they call it their emotional guidance system. This internal guidance system enables people to navigate life, make choices, and keep heading in the direction of what they want. But there is a false assumption that people continue to make about the internal guidance system. And that is that it will always lead you in the direction of pleasure and never pain. This assumption is what causes so many people to misunderstand their internal compass or internal guidance system, even to the degree that they abandon it. And this assumption is also something that enables other people to take full advantage of it, so that they can cause somebody else to completely abandon their internal guidance system in favor of what the other people tell them to do. In order to illustrate both points, I'll give you an example. I saw a woman many years back, a client, who grew up under very controlling parents. Now, these parents had no interest in chasing around a toddler or a young kid in grade school. So they preferred it when she was either watching TV or sitting down with her coloring book. It caused less problems for them, right? But in order to reinforce this idea, they kept telling her that if she moved, got up, played, run, anything, that she would get hurt. So, what did this little girl do? She was about 6 years old at this point. She decided to ignore what they said and instead listen to her own internal guidance system that said, I want to go play with my new roller skates. So she went and she put her roller skates on and went out, and within 5 minutes, she fell on her butt so hard she couldn't walk anymore. This little girl had to drag herself back home. Now, what do you think she made this mean? Oh my gosh, I can't trust my own internal guidance system because it led me in the direction of something painful. And in fact, my parents were right. And in fact, if I want to stay safe in the world, I have to let go of what I feel in my being is right or good for me and replace it with what they say is right or good for me. Of course, when she made it home, her parents said, "We told you so." When she learned that her inner voice would point her in the wrong direction or towards what's painful for her, she decided that there was something wrong with it. Because, after all, this was her assumption. If my internal voice and internal compass was working, it wouldn't tell me to go do something that caused me pain, right? Of course, all of this decision she made on a subconscious level benefited her parents greatly because they loved having such a compliant daughter. They were in love with the idea that she was able or willing to replace her estimation of what was right for her with their estimation of what was right for her. After all, they did know better. Consequently, this woman actually came to me in order to deal with relationships. Specifically, she was having such a hard time with autonomy and freedom in relationships. At face value, she would say, I really want a relationship where I feel like I have a sense of autonomy, but I keep finding my way into these relationships with men where I'm just literally at their mercy entirely. They tell me what to do, where to be, when, and it's almost like I'm just looking to them for directions. Well, the reason for this is because she completely got rid of her internal guidance system by virtue of thinking that if your internal guidance system was working, it would only lead you towards pleasurable things. She kept finding her way into relationships where she actually did look to that person, partner in this case, romantically, to do the same thing for her that her parents did, to tell her what to think, say, and do. Now, obviously, that's going to lead to a lack of sensation of autonomy or freedom, and it did, but what was interesting is that on a subconscious level, there was definitely a part of her that didn't want that freedom. In fact, that autonomy was terrifying. Why? Because it brought back that original traumatic experience, or that belief that I need someone to tell me what to think, say, and do, because after all, my internal guidance system is totally broken and only leads me in the direction of pain. She didn't want to take responsibility for any of the things that happened to her that might be bad. She also didn't want to run the risk of something bad happening in the first place. This idea that people have that their internal compass will always lead them towards pleasure instead of pain also comes with this added belief people usually have that pain is somehow wrong, or that if you experience pain, that equals automatically negative results. Now, neither of these beliefs are actually accurate. The inner compass is designed to lead you in the direction of what is in your best interests, what most people would call right for you or good for you. But just because something is in your best interest does not mean that it will necessarily be pleasurable. After all, your internal guidance system is not separate from the law of attraction or synchronicity or divine plans within the universe at large. And let me tell you, not all elements of synchronicity are pleasurable. Not every element of a divine plan feels good. For example, another client that I saw many years ago was an extreme skier. Now one day, she was super excited because she was going to get to go ski an area of terrain that she had never skied before with a friend who knew it well. Now her internal guidance system on that morning was saying, yes, this is a hell yes. It was leading her in the direction of doing that. Now on that fateful day that she went to that area, or that terrain, she ended up completely rupturing her ACL, and guess what? It ended her entire sports career. Do you think she felt good about this? Oh, hell no. She sunk into an incredible depression, until one day she got a phone call from someone she knew that said, I need some help with some kids that I am dealing with at the Montessori school that I'm running. With that phone call, all of a sudden she felt, this is strange. This is like a sense of calling. In her first 3 days helping out at that Montessori school, she felt more purpose in her being than her entire life that used to be dedicated towards sports. Now, she says that ACL injury is the best thing that ever happened to her. So, her internal guidance system in fact led her towards pain. Did you see that? But was it wrong to do so? Or was it right to do so? In other words, was her internal guidance system leading her in the direction of something that would cause her pain, in alignment with her best interests? Another example is that if a person has learned a codependent style of relationships, their internal guidance system is likely to lead them into such painful relationships that they become aware of their own dysfunction and then consciously change a pattern within themselves, thereby bringing themselves closer to relationships that feel good and also a stronger sense of self. Another example is that an athlete's guidance system may point them in the direction of a gold medal and thus in the direction of a really difficult training regimen which causes them to bleed and cry and sweat and struggle. I'm not saying that your internal guidance system is always perfectly healthy. In fact, your internal compass can be meddled with. To understand more about this, I want you to watch my video titled, Why Follow Your Joy Doesn't Always Work. The main reason that channels or spirit guides often don't really care much whether they're making you aware of the health of your own internal guidance system or whether they're just telling you to follow it no matter what, is because ultimately they know that if your guidance system internally is off, that you're going to be led in the direction of somewhere you end up hating when you get to the end of that, or even in the middle of it. And that will cause you to amend your desire back on track with something that is a more accurate reflection of your authentic internal guidance system. You should not distrust yourself or distrust your internal guidance system based off of knowing this. That's actually worse than just not knowing any of this and following your guidance system as if it's completely accurate all the time to your authentic self, no matter where it leads you. Rather, when you follow your internal compass, or that emotional guidance system, with the awareness that it could have been meddled with in some way, then the most important question you end up with, and that you end up asking yourself relative to these desires or the direction it's pointing you, is why? Why is that a yes for me? Why does it feel so good? So all this being said, I tend to talk a lot about this idea of the faulty compass, because it helps people in terms of conceptually understanding it, but actually your internal guidance system can never be faulty. In fact, it's always on point. The problem is it's a lot of times on point with your programming. Here's what I mean. If it was right for you to be an artist, but you were born to parents who would not put up with that career choice, and you adopted a deeper value of being close with family than personal purpose, your internal guidance system would point you in the direction of, then it's right to give up your art for the career that mom or dad want you to have. It will make doing so feel better and more like relief than pursuing art, in fact. So perhaps a better way to say that is that it's important to make sure the reason that your compass is pointing the way it's pointing is both conscious and something you can consciously align with or say yes to. What all this boils down to is that pretend your internal compass or that internal guidance system leads you into something that's painful. You shouldn't automatically make that mean that you need to distrust your internal guidance system or that somehow your internal self is against you, right? With a more thorough understanding of the way the universe works, and the way that your internal guidance system or compass works in conjunction with the universe, you can let go of this meaning entirely. This means your interpretation of the painful situations you end up in will actually change. We are conditioned to believe that feeling pain is both unnecessary and a bad thing. We also often make it mean that we've somehow failed, but pain serves a powerful purpose in the universe at large, and as such, it isn't completely avoidable. To understand more about this, watch my video titled The Meaning of Pain. Pain calls us to become conscious of ourselves and others. It's a messenger. Treat pain like a teacher and learn from your pain. Next time you feel pain as a result of your internal guidance system leading you towards something that ended up being painful, remind yourself that pain is the catalyst for the true alchemy of life change. And so consider that it may just be your internal guidance system working in perfect conjunction with the universe at large, for you, and for your best interests, instead of against you and against your best interests. Have a good week. If you liked this video, be sure to share it, like it, and also subscribe to my channel so you can see more content like this. But I want to personally thank you for taking the initiative and having the bravery to step into this space of awareness, not only for yourself, but for the benefit of those around you.